be a little bit of a challenge with that the street van over there, though. Come in here as wide as I can. See if I can use this space here behind this street van first. Nope. I don't have enough room. Well, actually, I might. Once I get clear of this. Nah. That won't work, but actually I can make it. I think I can make it work by coming over here. Get my doors open. So it turns out that other door on the far end is not even on their side of the building. It's on. He's over there. Oh yeah, this is no problem here. Watch it off. Just a little more space here. Let's see. See the shadow. Okay, it's coming. Oh yeah, definitely. Got it. I'd rather be a little further from that. I'm gonna do see how to make better use of this space here. Bit of a 3-point turn because I got to get my trailer in a better position relative to the door. So I was tracking a little bit too much toward the truck over there. Be all right. Just gotta watch my header board and watch the front of my tractor by this dumpster. Too close to this. Trailer's starting to track a little bit too much toward the side now, so I'm going to create a little more space with a 2-point turn. Probably do a few of these. Yeah, I'll get what I can out of this and then get my tractor further over to the left. Like he's indicated I'm clear of the other trailer or the other truck. I gotta set myself up for another turn. Double check what kind of room I have there. Well, this is definitely a fun one. Alright, I'm clear of the truck up there, but I'm definitely close to him. Come over this way to try to keep my tandems close to that side of the lane. So I get it to track more toward the Stater Brothers trailer. Oop, too far. Yeah. The trailer was rotating more heavily than I expected it to. Oh, this is much better. Yeah, and I'm clear of all the stuff on the other side. Starting to track toward the Stater Brothers trailer, and I don't want it to. I can correct it coming back. Okay, now set myself up for a pull forward, and because I don't have room to work with, so now I can track off to the right. I got a ton of room over here by the Stater Brothers trailer. What the hell? Dock plate, thought I was lined up with the dock plate on the right side, and then it turns out I'm not lined up with the dock plate on the on the driver's side. Definitely not your everyday Scott backing. Tandems look like they're centered now. Much better. We have a winner. We have bumped the dock. Oh, that deer will get parked. Sunlight Express, what are you doing? Kind of interfering with what I'm wanting to do. I want to park where these easy spots are, so I know it's easier for people to not hit me when they park. He's going for that one. Come on, dude. Not that hard. Why are you running so far forward with that thing? There you go. I got this yellow tractor now. The one who's in the fuel line next to me now is, damn it, don't interfere with my setup, dude. Trying to keep my trailer from jackknifing too hard. About 45 and then come back. See where I'm at. Ah, I'm off. Trying to scan to make sure there's nobody coming from behind on either side. Except for good. Slide my tandems and get rolling. Okay, I'm not going to have a good driver facing part to show where I'm looking and steering and all that, because the stupid me lost the SD card this morning while I was trying to put the SD card into my dash cam. So this is gonna be backing with the tandems all the way back. I'll be a U-turn style one if that yard jockey gets out of my way. It's just going to be a two view this time, unfortunately, because of that. Yeah, come on. Is he going to be on my way? So I had to go digging around through my equipment bay, basically pull everything out of there, see if I can find it. If it's not there, it's going to end up somewhere, I think in between. I see one over here. I see a reefer trailer and a dry van with a gap between them. I don't see any shadows back there. That's how I knew it was there. Okay, my tandem's all the way back now. I can go ahead and go 2 spots over. Gotta watch my tandems though. Make sure they keep rolling forward and not backward. Okay, now I don't know about that, because the tandems are a little bit too much toward the, might work, but I would have rather the tandems have be a little bit more on my side of the spot. That'll work, but at least sure, that's looking good. Just to be extra sure, because I think I'm biasing a little bit toward the blind side. I'm going to take out some of this extra offset I have here. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Perfect. Let's get over here on this side so I can get my landing gear down. Okay, the load is not ready yet, but there's a possibility it might be ready soon because their computer says it's. Computer seems to suggest it's loaded, but they don't have any bills. Let's see some of our trailers here. 6479, 7349. So at least two of our trailers sitting right here. Doesn't mean they're my load, but hopefully one will be. Yeah, he said once I get to drop them my empty, just stop there at the guard check on my way back out to double check, because the bills could be ready by the time that happens. Take the one closest to the building, to the door. Maybe come back over a little more. Yeah, I gotta open up my doors too. What's up, Jesse? Where's the end of that damn docket? There it is. Alright. On duty, yard move. Oh, crap hook. Two people inside that yard mule, so got one of them straining the other one. Okay, now the reason why Tyson and a lot of shippers want you to have the tandems all the way back when you're dropping trailers, one, it can be a pretty tight fit. Like these two trailers here in front of me, that's one example of it. They're pretty close to each other. They're not always like that, but between that and also needing to, see, I'm gonna go for this spot here, I think. No, I don't like it. Is this? I'll show you. This trailer here is encroaching on the spot there, so I'm gonna disregard that spot and go for a different one. You can always turn around and put it over here across the lane for me, but let's see how this spot over here is first. No, these are parked like crap. Who the hell parked this one, Helvig? Damn, could you be a little more crooked? Alright, how about over here by Decker? There's plenty of room here, and... Or wait, what about this? Yeah, back end of it looks questionable. Front end was fine, but I don't know about back end. This one here looks good. Might be a little difficult to get into with lack of space here, though. So I'll just put it over here by Decker. I don't have enough room to set up for that one. Okay, right here next to Decker, I'm gonna go 2 spots past, but my tandems are still they weren't quite tracking right, so I'm all the way across. Oh, that looks really good. Trailer's up against the curb, so might be a little bit of a challenge with that the street van over there, though. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna do a little bit of narration on the videos you already saw. We'll start in here with the food bank, basically, in San Bernardino, which is where I had to take a load of rejected product, or yeah, a pallet that was part of that load snafu with the drop that I had in Los Angeles and Santa Clarita. Anyway, the pallet that was supposed to go to Los Angeles, it ended up in Santa Clarita instead, and ended up back on my trailer eventually. That's I'm basically here at the food bank dropping that. Now here, I tried to work with the space in here where that tractor, where that the straight van is at, but obviously I had some trouble with it. So I didn't get the tandems. Now the tandems are too far out in the lane, and yeah, since I'm straight back with the trailer, I have to create the rotation with it. But I don't know if you noticed when I came in, I have these to worry about. I have the dumpsters and that container thing or whatever it is right there. So I was very limited on space to work with. So I was hoping I would get the tandems further down over that way before I cut back up. I was trying to create the trailer angle toward the hole, basically, but I didn't have enough room to get what I was trying to get. So that's why I ended up having a difficult time with this one here. Okay, so from here it kind of looks like it's coming in okay. In fact, I think I had made a comment that it was all right. Now see, I'm trying to create more here. I'm coming over to the left. All right, now I'm also, you see I'm getting out to open my doors, but by moving the way I just did, so I get the trailer, I create more angle on the trailer, you just see there, and then when I roll forward and left, the trailer, I get even more angle on the trailer, which means it'll, which allows the trailer to rotate a lot faster. But keep in mind, the more the trailer's off track, and the less the tires are going to roll toward the spot. So there's a catch-22 there with that. Okay, yeah, I do need the rotation, but I also need the tandems to roll in there toward the spot, and I'm not getting enough of that. So which limits me on space to work with on the tractor. Okay, now I'm going to move. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize for the sun being there. It's I know it does affect the ability to view. Now, originally it did look like to me that the trailer was starting to track in there okay, although it was a little more toward a little more toward this other truck over here than I really wanted it to be. The angle looked like it was okay though. You know, the trailer's angle coming toward the door, so it looked like it would have been doable. The problem is again, I'm too close to the fence line over here, and the dumpster and the container and all that kind of stuff. So again, I'm very limited on what I can do with the tractor. So I came forward again. Basically, I tried to do a little bit of a 3-point turn there, left, right, left. Yeah, it looked like it was more of a right than a left though. So it didn't really have much impact on how my trailer setup was. So now I'm coming back. I'm mainly just trying to create more space for the tractor to work its way around. But it's very tricky when that straight van over there was in the space. So yeah, as you see, eventually I ended up I made it work. It was just a matter of trying to get the trailer position right. Okay, the trailer is looking okay. The position looks okay. Now I'm watching, again, watch the ICC bar. How far off is it from the lines, if there are lines over there? And also watch the tandems. Don't, again, as a reminder, do not stare down at that one particular part of the trailer. Keep your eyes moving. Look at all these details frequently. Look at your tandem position relative to the center of the spot. Look at your ICC bar in relation to the center, on the driver's side of the spot. Look at this angle here the tractor has. Keep looking over to your right to make sure you're clear of any obstacles over here. As you see, I had a big problem with stuff over here to worry about hitting with my tractor. Yeah, you really got to watch out for this kind of stuff when you're doing backings in order to not hit anything. Okay, trailer looks like it's coming in okay. Problem is I'm kind of, keep in mind I also have a deer guard on the front of my truck. So even though it kind of looks like I have space to work with on the front of my truck, you got to keep in mind there's a deer guard sticking out there that you cannot see. So, if I didn't have a deer guard, I could get the front of my hood almost all the way up within a couple inches of whatever obstacles are there. But with the deer guard sitting up there, it actually takes away about the better part of a foot of space. Okay, so yeah, now I'm trying to work an angle to get the tractor pointing more toward the spot instead of going that direction. So these moves here, it was a 2-point serpentine move. It was a left and then a right forward. That's a common technique I use when the trailer is where I want it to be, but I just need to get the tractor to square up with it. And what little space I have to work with, the entire process there is to focus on getting the tractor pointing at an angle that's more toward the door. Okay, and coming back here now, I think I was starting to point toward the Stater Brothers trailer, and then you can see the tandems are, I don't know, they might be positioned okay, but as the further back I go and the more my tractor and my drive tires start going that direction, the more I have to worry about where the other side of my trailer, the front half of my trailer is in relation to that truck over there. So you have to be careful with this kind of stuff. There's a lot, as long as the trailer's angle in that way, then everything forward of the tandems is going to go more that way, the more you keep pushing this the way it is. And then everything aft of the tandems, or to the rear of the tandems, so from here on back to the back of the trailer is going to go more and more toward the Stater Brothers trailer. So that's just some of the fundamental stuff here. It'll help you guys out if you're watching for the backing tip stuff. Now watch again. I'm going hard left, and now right. Not too much. I'm just, because I don't have a lot of space to work with again. I'm just trying to get the tractor space to work with to try to square up with the trailer. Okay, and it's common now, when I have to do these, if I have to do more than one, what I'll do before I start moving forward, I try to set up my move forward. I don't want to move forward the same direction that I just came back. So, in other words, I don't want to be in a hard left turn coming backward, and then when I have to correct forward, I don't want to have to be in a position where I have to go left and forward to get back out, because where maybe there's not enough room for me to go straight or right. So in order to do that, what I do instead is when I know I'm going to need to pull forward, before I actually come to a stop while backing up, I will actually straighten my steer tires out and then just bring the tractor back at a straight, in a straight line. Regardless of what the trailer is doing, just come back in a straight line, and then I'll go hard left and hard right forward, and that'll give me the space that I'm trying to find. As you see, I'm really close to that container there now, and also keep in mind my deer guard's over there, so it's even closer than it looks. I know you guys think that's really close. It's even closer than you think it is, just because the deer guard there. But now remember, I can see in my hood mirrors. I can see if I'm paying attention to them, I can see where the deer guard is, or to an extent. And see, here I'm getting out because I know I'm concerned about how close I am to that truck. I know he's further out, and I wanted to just double check how close I was to him and where the back of my trailer was in relation to the front of that tractor, as well as laterally how close or far away I was from it. Yeah, that way, because I know I'm going to be making a hard left and then a hard right and then a hard left, if possible, and when I correct forward, I know I'm going to have my tail swing that direction. So I need to know how much space I have to work with over there. I want to be absolutely certain I'm not going to hit that tractor. So don't hesitate to goal. You're going to be in a lot worse shape if you don't goal and find out that you hit something than that you would have avoided if you would have goaled instead. So you're never too good to goal. Okay, you see I'm coming over here, trying to stay as far left as I can. Then I'm going to come back over to the right, and then another left at the end. Okay, that creates the trailer angle, so when I start pushing straight back with the tractor, the trailer's already pointed in the right direction, and the more I keep just pushing straight back, the trailer's going to off track even more and more toward the door. In fact, in this situation, the tandems were so far away from the door, it actually tracked a little bit too much toward the Stater Brothers trailer, and I had to make another correction there. See, it's coming right at the Stater Brothers trailer, so I'm going to correct left and right again. It's a 2-point serpentine. Remember, if the trailer tracks too much toward the sight side guy, the 2-point serpentine, like you just saw, hard left and hard right forward, or what you can get out of it. And then if it's too much toward the blind side, do a 3-point, left, right, left. You always want to end your setup facing this direction, ideally. I'm just saying, if you're doing this my method, then you'll finish your setup this way. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. There are other methods. But if you use the more safe techniques that I use, that's the way that you ideally want to finish your setups. Okay, now I have a little more room to work with here. Now you're gonna see that I'm actually closer to this guy here, but that's fine, because when I'm closer to this Stater Brothers trailer, I'm further away from the trailer with the tractor hooked up to it. Now, big concerns here, and I can still see a gap here between the trailer, or the Stater Brothers trailer, and my own trailer. Next thing I'm watching for is how far, where are my tandems at in relation to the corner of this trailer. If I can get my tandems past the corner of this trailer, then I know that I'll clear it. As long as I keep the trailer pointing toward in that direction or straight back, I'm fine. If I start to overshoot the trailer and it's real close to the Stater Brothers trailer, then I have to start worrying about the back of my trailer hitting the Stater Brothers trailer. What you're actually going to see me doing here, because I had concerns about it. Now I can tell right around in here that I'm kind of running out of space there before if I keep coming back, this is where I talk about don't try to force a bad setup. Now I'm just going to start working with setting up future moves. Okay, remember my drive tires are off over here to the right of where my tandems are, or to the left in this view, but from my view looking forward, it's to the right, or more to the right of my spot than the tandems are, which caused the trailer to point more towards Stater Brothers. Okay, so that's why I'm going to pull forward, get rid of this excess thing that's off track here. Not a lot of room to work with here, but I just whatever number of pull-ups and turn-backs, whatever you need. See, I did, maybe I could have turned a little sharper on that. I'm not really sure where I have my steering wheel. It didn't really look like I had it steering that sharply right there, but maybe I did. Okay, and I'm going to come hard back and left. And then, see, only just enough. Now keep in mind, my doors are also open, so it's really close there. Alright, and come back. Now, I already know I'm going to need to correct forward again. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring the trailer back and get what angle I can out of it. Try to get it a little bit further away from Stater Brothers. I know I'm not going to be able to hit the door just right. But, see, I got a pretty good amount of the offset from the door taken out before I even got back there. Like I said, I knew I wasn't going to get it all. I was just focused on trying to get it away from Stater Brothers and more toward the center of my door, and then set up my next pull forward. Okay, now I'm going to move right. Now, this is where you got to be careful. Very common area that rookie drivers tend to have problems with. When you make these corrections like this, a safer way to do it actually would to just go straight ahead. Just go straight ahead all the way up until you run out of space, and then make your adjustments coming backward. Because I know what I'm doing here, and I know I have space to work with. I'm trying to cheat here and use. I'm coming right to try to get the angle that the trailer pointed to the passenger side. The front of the trailer pointed to the passenger side, which will drag my tandems that direction more. And then I go left to get my drive tires back over here, so it's lined back up with where the tandems are, and then I go hard right to get the steer tires lined up with everything else. But I'm very limited on its space for that, so you got to keep that in mind. Very, very common for inexperienced drivers. They'll exaggerate these turns too much, and they'll end up with when they run out of space, now their trailer's pointing in a completely wrong direction. So, they can't straighten back out with the trailer, and then maybe the trailer's also tracking in a different direction than they want it to. So you got to be careful not to exaggerate these turns if you're going to do these kind of corrections, okay? And it's kind of a limited space. A lot of times, to be honest with you, it's better to just go ahead and go straight ahead until you run out of your space, and then come back and make whatever adjustments you need coming backward instead. Okay, now I need to get the tandems a little more that way. So you see I'm turning left. You're turning the tractor left to get the drive tires right, or to the drive tires left, I mean. And I think I ended up doing one more pull forward because I think I had enough of, my angle was not so far off, and so I think I was able to see on my passenger mirrors where I was at in relation to the dock door on the other side. But or one or the other. It looked like I was lined up right on one side, but then when I looked in the other mirrors, it looked like I was off, and it was just kind of misleading on where exactly the door was at, because I also see this yellow stripe right here, and I'm thinking that's where I need to line up with, and I think that's where I got mistaken also. It looked like I was lined up correctly there, but in reality, I was actually, I think I was too far off to the Stater Brothers side again. Okay, now I have a better setup there. And I still need to adjust the angle there a little bit. Okay, so needless to say, this was one of the more difficult backings I've had to do. It's not incredibly difficult, it's just tricky setup. And just working with the space you have to work with, and trying to get the trailer to maneuver the way you want to, as well as get the tractor where you need it. So, I wouldn't call it incredibly difficult in terms of how impossible it is. It's just technically challenging, I guess I would call it. So, use these techniques they'll help you out in some of these situations here. Okay, now I'll move on. Okay, is that the flying chain to Amarillo? Okay, I'm going to do a U-turn, basically. I think I'm going to set up for this spot right here, if I remember right. And I try to, I'm trying to be wary of where the tandems are at. I'm going to set up about 2 spots over from my spot. Is it going to be exactly the right spot? I don't know. And then also the way I turn the tractor can also affect that. So if I go hard right the entire time, I'm eventually going to jackknife and actually hit my cab extenders with the side of the trailer. So I'm trying to be careful not to steer too tight or too hard to the right. So I'm not all the way over, and then as I come back, now I got the angle a bit wrong, but and also the position of the tandems wasn't quite right, because my tandems ended up partially in front of this guy. Ideally, my tandems would have ended up right in front of my spot. But again, you're not going to get every setup perfectly right. So just make adjustments on the fly here is what I did. Okay, as you see, by the time I'm squared up with the trailer, okay, I'll be clear of this truck here, but it's going to be tight fit. So I want to get the tandems pointing, or the back of the trailer pointing more in front of the hole instead of so deep into the hole, because you gotta think ahead. Yeah, I can get the tandems back there in the middle of the hole, but once they're back there, how much room left do I have to work with to get my tractor squared up as well? Might not be so much. So get the tandems pointed further up, and so like I was talking about here, don't point the trailer back here inside the back of the hole. Point it out here up front of the hole, ideally. And then that way you can get everything squared up with the hole a lot sooner, and get it come in at a more straight angle and much less risk of hitting anybody. So see, I come on over this way. I steered left and then straight, and then I steered right to square back up with the trailer. Now, see, I have more space to work with. I have room to work with to get the tandems where I need them. And then, again, this is another area where I always talk about where there's always a temptation to steer too quickly to chase the trailer down. And I actually succumbed to it a little bit myself here. You see, I waited. I didn't wait. I don't think I really waited long enough to get the tandems to the center of the spot. I started to rotate the tractor right about when the tandems got to the line. In reality, I should have let the tandems go a little bit more into the center of the hole before I start doing that, because the angle that I'm off from the hole is not that much. So make a little adjustment there. See, my tandems are still a little bit more toward this guy's side of the spot. I could probably be a little further over that way, and that was because of mistiming the turn. Okay, at this point, I'm not too concerned about where the tandems end up, though. I'm especially concerned about where the tractor ends up. I want to especially have my tractor in the center of the hole, if nothing else, and go as far back into the spot as I can fit. That way, there's always as much room as possible for other people to back in. And that one, there was a straight back area, so it wasn't really any risk of me getting as much risk of me getting hit by anybody, because anybody with half a brain can do a straight back setup for the adjacent spots if they were open. All right, so now here I'm at the Walmart DC in Plainview, Texas. It's going to be a U-turn setup. It doesn't go exactly perfectly, but okay. As I'm coming up, I can see the shadows there. I can see a gap right there in the shadows, so there's probably an open spot right there. That's what I'm looking for, in between this reefer trailer and this dry van. Okay, tandems are all the way back. Here's my spot. When I go about 2 spots past, so when the front of my truck gets near the opposite side of the Werner trailer, that's when I start my turn. Now, if the tandems are further forward like the California setting, I obviously would only go 1 spot past instead of 2. But since the tandems, you see, are all the way back, they are going to be more resistant to rolling when I do rotate, when I do turn. They're going to just rotate more and roll less. Okay, now a couple details here. One, I want to, ideally, when I do these U-turn setups, I want to be able to see this trailer that's 2 spots over from my spot. Yeah, because the trailer is going to rotate fairly quickly toward the spot, and I need time to get the tractor to square up though, because as far off as the tractor is off tracking from the spot, it takes a lot of time to get the tractor to rotate back in the same direction. So trying to account for that. It's just a matter of practicing the timing. You know, you can get the basic fundamentals here, but then you got to practice the timing. And yeah, even no matter how much practice you get, there's still going to be times where you get that timing off. So don't worry about it if you have trouble with the timing portion of it. It's just going to happen no matter how good you are. Okay, other little detail here. Ideally, I also want to get the kind of have the tractor pointed a little bit toward these guys, not heavily, but not necessarily heavily, but at least somewhat. That way, when I'm coming back, my ideal is to get the drive tires to start, and looking in this view, get the drive tires to gradually track away this direction from these trailers here. Or if you're looking in this view, get the drive tires to come this direction. Because the more space the more they come over this direction and away from these trailers, the more space I have to work with to rotate the front of my tractor over there without hitting anything or getting disrupted by something over there. Okay, coming back here now, you see the drive tires are already coming away from there. So, and if I run out of space, I just steer straight. If I run out of space for the front of my tractor, I'll just steer straight until I have the space, and then I'll steer hard left again until whenever is necessary. Now, again, I'm watching the trailer, the axles here. ICC bar is not very far behind the the tandem, so it's not such a concern anymore. There's no tail swing because the tandems are all the way back. The only real issue is how far is my entire trailer over toward looks like the Estes trailer. I think that's an Estes trailer. Okay, and it looked like it's maybe a little bit far over that direction, but from my actual vantage point, I can see the line here. It's there. The trailers are not super tight and their spacing there, so there is some room to work with there. Those are little details to watch for as well. Okay, it looks like I'm doing okay there. So I was actually on the verge of pulling forward though, because pulling forward or going. A lot of times I'll just pull forward, because if I feel like I have to go, then there's probably something wrong with my setup in the first place, and a lot of times I think I'm better off just correcting forward and fixing my setup first. So but there are cases where the setup's just fine, and actually getting out and going is actually the easier thing to do than to correct the setup and possibly create more problems. Okay, now see the trailer is off track in this way. Now the back of my trailer is barely at the front of these two trailers, so I'm not concerned at all about where how close the other side of my trailer is getting to the Estes trailer over there, because I'm barely even lined up with the front of them at the very back of it. But I'm gonna go ahead and see, I pulled forward because I don't necessarily want my trailer to track too much toward this guy, because if I keep chasing it, it's going to track harder and harder toward this guy. And I'm also trying to think ahead to am I going to have enough room to get the tractor, the drive tires to shoot back over this way to square the trailer up before the tandems get too far off to this side of the spot. Okay, so I come back, now I have a little more control. I can see down both sides of the trailer more easily, and I can make more fine-tuned adjustments. I don't have to make such huge adjustments, or actually smaller and easier adjustments to make. Okay, that's it for this one. Now I've got the Tyson plant in Amarillo. I'm going to start with the wash rack here. So again, the tandems are all the way back. I'm going to put it right there at the very first spot. It's just a regular, mostly a straight back. Not quite a straight back, as you see, not quite enough space for that. But I use, whatever space I can for that. Okay, straight back with the tractor. Now I'm starting to turn hard left. So using what space I can before my steer tires end up hitting a curb or anything. Now I'm watching these pads right here. I want to line up with getting the tandems lined up in front of that pad. Now and then lastly I try to angle the trailer toward the pad. Okay, that one is, that's pretty much it on that one. Now the final one, it's dropping that same trailer in the empty lot over here to the side of where the trailers are, where the wash rack is. Now, some of these, I was looking back at some of these, and I think this one here, there was plenty of space up here in the front, but the trailers are not parked straight. So I was a little concerned about how much space there was in the back of the spot. Yeah, maybe I could have fit in there, I don't know, but if it looked kind of questionable and there are easier spots to work with, like I can tell there's some easy, a lot of space over here next to this other JCT trailer, why go for that one? Yeah, same situation there. That one I think was wedged also. And I'm going to get further down. And this Helvig one, I remember, was so badly parked, it was actually extending into both of these spots here. So I wasn't even going to think about that one. Lastly, now I do want to talk about this one here, because I considered actually going for this spot here. And, okay, the way I set up was not the ideal way to set this one up. I mean, if I was going to go for it. Because I ended up changing my mind in the mid setup because I realized which I didn't think I was going to have the room anyway. If you're gonna try to back into a spot like this where you're near the end of a row and there's space over here, you're better off doing somewhat of a kind of a 90-degree alley dock kind of maneuver where you get the trailer pointed this direction where as much as you can. That way the tandems can get over here. But then get the tractor off track and way over here and basically create a jackknife setup. A 90-degree alley dock, I don't think you'll have enough room for. But basically, if you can jackknife the tractor, even wrap the tractor around this trailer here without getting your trailer too close to this one here, that might be even an option too. But it depends on where your tandems are positioned and where the spot is at in relation to the tandems. Well, same thing there. With tandems all the way back though, it's more difficult to do that with this spot. So in this situation, it'd probably be better to just get the trailer pointed out in this direction somewhat and then jackknife the tractor. Might even have to do a couple of 4x4 techniques to get the jackknife you're looking for in order to get the trailer to rotate the way you need. But so, because I have had these situations before, like the Flying J in San Antonio, Florida. I remember backing into a spot very much like this one, and I did exactly that situation there. My tandems were actually more forward, so I was able to get the tandems more kind of in front of this guy here, or even right in front of my spot. And I wrapped the tractor around in a jackknife position over in the lane over on the other side of the guy on the front. And then I just did a jackknife rotation to get the trailer square lined up with my spot. So you will once in a while run into that kind of thing. So that's why I just wanted to talk about that. It's not the way I'm going to actually get this trailer in, though. In fact, I'm not going for that spot. Okay, now I'm trying to use all this space I can to get the tandems over to this side of the lane now. I think I'm going to put it next to Decker here. Yeah. Much better spot there. Again, tandems all the way back. Start my turn 2 spots past. Or about 2 spots. Now, tandems, I think we're still sticking out over that way a little bit. So, might have started a little bit later. Okay. Again, you see here, the tractor's pointing at these guys. I have enough angle that I think I can work with. Maybe I could have used a little bit more, but yeah, in fact, looking at the way the trailer rotates into there, yeah, I could have used more or even put a little bit of right steering in when I come back to help it out. again, my philosophy is if I have to steer right when I'm backing, then my setup's wrong in the first place. Okay, there was plenty of space here, and now as you see here, it was pretty easy ultimately. Alright, well, that's all for this compilation. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this. Hope you got, as always, those of you guys who are looking for tips on backing, hope you got some good information out of this, and at least some entertainment out of the regular views there. I'll have another compilation coming up before long here, okay? Thanks for watching.